The sector is at war. Its worlds under siege. Chaos spreads, consumes us all. Here, we will make our final stand.
Hello and welcome back to another instructional video. Today we're talking about Relic, which is the new Talisman-esque 40,000 inspired game from Fantasy Flight. Now, if you don't like Talisman, you're not going to like Relic. It's as simple as that, so you probably shouldn't be watching this, let alone buying it. But if you do like Talisman, or if you like just hanging out with your mates and having some fun, then this is actually a really good game. Is it an improvement on Talisman? I don't know about that. It certainly, I think it is better than Talisman. It's got more going on. It's got more bells and whistles than Talisman had. It also has mitigated the luck somewhat, but make no mistake, this is luck through and through. If you can't roll sixes, you're hosed. And no matter how many silly cards you have, well, that's great, but you're going to burn through them rapidly. So it is still luck based. I don't see that as a problem. I think take it for what it is. It's a great story through the Warhammer 40,000 universe or through the Dungeon universe if you're playing Talisman. Yeah, it drags on a little bit, but it's fun and you're hanging out with people you like anyway, so where's the downside? Anyway, I don't think I'm going to sell people on Talisman. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But this is going to be an overview of how to play the game. Okay, so here we have the board set up for a game. I mean, already you can see that it's just a really tremendously beautiful board. They did go to town on the artwork. It's a bit higgledy-piggledy, but it's really pretty. In the middle, here, you've got space for your goal. So I've chosen the most basic goal, which is called the Mystery Beyond. And it's literally just get to the middle to win the game. And that is the whole game. As you get better, you can choose other ones. So you might choose Corruptus, where you've got to face some evil demon, or the Chaos Manufactorum, where you've got to do something there, or Kairos Fateweaver, who's a Zench minion, and the Lost Flagship. I won't lie, I haven't read all of them, but there's lots of different missions, just like you get with the expansions of Talisman. After you've done that, you can set your decks up and your starting tokens. So you've got lots more decks than you would have in Talisman normal. You've got, already you can see we've got a lot more. So we've got yellow, blue and red adventure cards or threat cards, which are essentially the adventurer deck you'd have in Talisman. These test cunning primarily, which is your yellow attribute, willpower and strength. Now you have a few others. You have corrupt cards or corruption cards. They basically make your character potentially better. So in the last game I grew a second limb, which meant I could use 2 weapons. If you reach 6 corruption cards in a game, you're out. You do get a new character, but you start from scratch. If you run out of health, you keep all of your stats, but if you get corrupted, it's a lot worse. Mission cards give you missions which let you acquire relics, power cards. They're a bit like the spells from Talisman. Relic cards, and finally equipment cards. Over here, I haven't bothered to get them out of the bag because there's quite a lot of them, but you have well, you have my playing piece, which we will deal with in just a second. These sort of little lightning bolt things are charges. So when we get equipment, we're going to put charges on them, and we will spend them as time goes by. These are just sort of to represent certain control. So you've got one for each colour. So I've already got a few green ones out because that's the colour we're going to play with. And we'll just put those on the board to represent that we control certain assets. And finally, you've got these little arrows. This is gold, essentially. It's called influence, but no, it's gold. And you start with 3. So I'll actually put those 3 down for my character. So that's really it. You get your cards laid out, you get your mission that you've chosen in the middle, and then you will choose a hero. So I've already chosen one for us. I've chosen the Tech Priest, and we've got quite a lot on here. So this is the Tech Priest special card, and his strength, willpower, cunning and life stats. Those are all visible at the bottom. So you've got strength, willpower, cunning and life at the bottom. We've got this rule, which is the asset limit, which is essentially how many units you can carry, or items you can carry. We've got a starting space, the Omnissiah Shrine. So what we do is we'll just zip up to the board, and there is the Omnissiah Shrine, or however you pronounce it. So that is where we start. Okay, there are a few other bits. We have a power limit. So as we go up on levels, we're going to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And indeed, we will start the game with a power card. So the power card can be played at two ways. We can either use the top one as the number, so I can choose not to roll a number and spend this, or I can use the bottom text. Move one enemy or player in the middle or outer space to your space. You cannot play this card while in the inner tier. So at the end of movement, I could bring someone to come and kill them. Maybe I want a special guy. So I'll put that down there. We also get a mission. So, oh, that's my power card. I've just chosen the wrong one. Mission. Right, let's have a look at this. Report on to the Blackstone Fortress. Let's just try and focus. I'll just pop it down there. That might be better. Right, so report to the Blackstone Fortress. Spend one or more influence while scrying in the Blackstone Fortress, and you can complete this card as a mission or take it as an ally. And if we took it as an ally, we would get +2 to all of our rolls, all of our combat rolls. The ones with the spiky is combat rolls. Now, the Blackstone Fortress is in the second tier somewhere. I think it's over there. No, maybe it's there. Oh, okay. Sorry, it's hard to find these things. There's our Blackstone Fortress. Now, some people have suggested a variant where your mission, because missions are important, they're the only real way you can get relics, and relics are what you need to complete the game. Some people have suggested that you choose, so if you get a mission which is not doable in the outer tier, you replace it and do another one. I haven't done that yet, but I could see that it would be a good thing. So maybe that would be worth bearing in mind if you were struggling a little bit. Because it does benefit you quite a lot, I suppose, if you can do your mission quickly. Right, the Tech Priest, just like all heroes in Talisman, has some special abilities. So, at the end of setup, reveal 4 war gear cards and acquire 1 at no cost. Each time you acquire a weapon, you may add an additional charge. Weapon, armor, and equipment cards do not count towards your asset limit. And this last one, at the bottom, reveal 3 war gear cards and acquire 1 at no cost, then discard the rest. This will be awarded, you can actually see it right up there, it's awarded as part of leveling up. So your stats are going to improve, and then other things will happen. So if I just go up to the level up track, it's still just the same as Talisman. You need 7 points worth of baddies to level up. Here we're going to level up Cunning, then we're going to get 2 Influence. Then we'll level up Willpower, then we'll get 1 item, sorry. Then we'll level up Cunning again, then we'll level up Strength. Level up Willpower, get a new mission. So there is a key at the back of the book, but that's basically it. I really like the leveling up system. I think it's a big improvement on Talisman. So anyway, let's take our free war gear. I think that's pretty juicy. It's pretty exciting. So we'll take our 4 war gear cards. 1, 2, oh dear, I don't think these have been very well shuffled. 3 and 4. So here we have our war gear. We have a Shrine World badge, which will add 2 to our willpower, essentially permanently. We have, oh, and you can see here the cost. That would normally cost 3 money or 3 influence or gold, which we do have, but we aren't buying them now. This is just our freebie one. So it's pretty tasty. Stormbolter. It gives 3, and we have 2 charges, but we would get an extra one, and that would give us +3 strength, but only in combat. So this would only be in combat because we're using a Stormbolter. I mean, technically from a lore perspective, I don't think we would be able to use that, but never mind. Another Storm Bolter, which we've talked about, and then finally a long range Auspex, which gives us +2 on cunning. I'm going to take that because, you know, it's quite nice to really boost our cunning stat. So we take all our item, and at that point, we are ready to play. So the game's begun. I'm only playing with one player, which technically you can't actually do, but we'll give it a whirl just to show you how the game works. Oh, I've rolled a 6. That's always a good start, isn't it? So that means I get to move 6 spaces either way around the board as usual. So I can move up to here, which is a mutant warlord, and just as before, you sometimes gain strength and stuff like that. Or I can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can move over to the other place, which is the Devouring Wilds. So I move over to the Devouring Wilds, and there's no special text there. There is just a blue symbol. What that means is I take a blue card from the threat deck, and then I place it in this space. So we can see a number of things here. We can see a number at the top, that's how much their battle is worth. Blue is Tyrannid, so that's why you've got sort of some critters. At the start of this battle, test Cunning 8. If you fail, add 2 to this enemy's battle score. So this will be very familiar for our Talisman veterans, but I have a Cunning of 4. I actually have an extra 2 thanks to my long range Auspex, and I need to test Cunning 8, otherwise this guy's strength is going to improve. So I roll, and I've actually managed to get 8, which is very lucky indeed. So at that point we now have a fight. Their willpower is 1, mine is also 1, so we roll for the baddie. Okay, and the baddie has rolled poorly. So, 2 for the baddie. And I have rolled just as well, but I think I've beaten it. So, that's going to mean that I win this trophy. And therefore, I take it as one of my trophies. In retrospect, actually, I think that if we're tied, so with my Cunning of 8, it was 4 + 2 + 2. In retrospect, it says test Cunning 8. I tied. Oh, I suppose that's not a fail. So I think technically I tied, but even so, I have killed it. So I've got that as a trophy. And then I'll move on. So someone else will have a go, and then we'd move on. So just sort of fast forwarding a bit, let's say that we've got to this space here. Let me just find some cool stuff. There are some which cause other things to happen. So there's some cards which mean that we've got some issues or some complications, but I'm just trying to find one. And I seem to be unable to find one. So due to certain things, I suppose this is a good example, sort of. There is the odd card that will have a seal at the bottom of it. So this is a Ripper spawn, and it means that we have to place a second blue. So we'd already have had to have played a blue, and now we have to play 2 more. So we play all of these. So sometimes, due to cards moving around, you'll end up with a red and a blue. So let's just say that this is what had happened, because this happens quite often actually. I just couldn't quite find a way of doing it. So we had 2 blue, let's just say the red guy was here all along. We had 2 blue, so we had to draw 2 blue. The first one was a Ripper Swarm, which meant that we had to draw another blue, so we still had to draw 2. We had an event, and then we had an ally. So what we do is we stack them up. Events come first, so we'll put that one to the top. Allies come after minions. Right, so I have a War Boss Death Snagger at level 10, and I have a big stack of blue ones. If you've got two different colours, you choose which one to go for first. If I had multiple enemies of the blue ones, I'd just add them together. So if he was blue, it would be 10 plus the 1 from the Ripper Swarm, so it would be 11. But in this case, I would get to choose. Now, because there's some goodies here, I'm going to choose the blue one first. Pact of Knowledge. Oh, let me just try and get it in focus. Each player, this is annoying. Let's just zoom in, makes things easier. So each player may draw 1 corruption card to gain 1 willpower. Oh, that seems like a good deal. So we can up 1 willpower. Remember, we're only allowed 6 corruption cards in total. So we up 1 willpower and we take a nasty corruption card. Let's see what happens. Right, so this is nice because it highlights the way corruption works. First of all, we have magic resistance. Now, this 3 says how many corruption cards we have to have before it triggers. So if this was my 3rd corruption card, I would actually get this benefit or disadvantage. As it's not actually going to happen. But it says if you lose willpower, you may roll a 5 or a 6 and prevent the loss of 1 life from that battle. So you've got something good there, but unfortunately, because we are not evil enough yet, we will just have it face down, and when we get to 6, we are out of the game essentially. We have to come back as a brand new character. So if that had been a 1, we'd have got to keep whatever benefit it was, but as it was, we didn't. Okay, that's the Pact of Knowledge done, so that's going to go into the blue discard pile. Now we have the Ripper Swarm, and we roll for the Ripper Swarm. I roll really well. So a 1, I have a willpower of 2 now, and lo and behold, I roll a 6. So it's 2 plays 8, but actually it's a bit more than that, because in this version of the game you have exploding 6s. So if you roll a 6, you get to roll another dice. So now it's 2 plus 7 for me, and 1 plus 1 for the Ripper Swarm. So he dies as well, and I keep him as a achievement. The Void Master is an ally. After you make a movement roll, you may add 1 to your movement score, so I'll keep him as well. And then finally, I can take on War Boss Death Snagger. Now, the Eagle ruled eyes amongst us would have seen that this guy actually moves, but for the purpose of this game, or for this turn, we'll just pretend that he doesn't. So we roll for him. 15 strength, and I have a strength of 2, so we roll for me, and lo and behold, I have a 1, so that's 15 to him, 3 to me, and if you lose, normally, unless it specifically tells you otherwise, you just drop down 1 life. So you drop down 1 life, and that is it. So we've covered off a lot of stuff. The power cards, you gain them through certain places on the board. At the moment we have a limit of 1, but there are special abilities that let you move it up. As you level up, you're going to move up this track, and you're going to get more stats according to your character sheet. Certain things will give you other things. Buying cool equipment is very, very useful. I highly recommend that. The only thing we haven't really dealt with, and that is the idea of relics. So in order to reach the end of the game, you have to have one of these big powerful cards, which is known as a relic. In order to get that, you need to complete 2 missions. So when you've completed one, you're able to draw a second one. And this is a report to Fortress World. So I have to go to a space called Fortress World. If I complete that, then I complete those 2, and I can draw a relic card. Oh, what's this? The Nameless Blade. Once per battle, you may reroll 1 dice. That's pretty sweet. And also, it's now going to mean that I'm eligible to go into the middle. Moving into the middle is slightly more advanced than it used to be. So in terms of moving in, you move in the corners now. You can move in through that space, and I believe over in this space up here. to get into the middle. It is not as simple as going past the Guardian as it was in Talisman. Once you're in the middle space, it's obviously a lot tougher, just like you'd expect. It is this space here which allows you to move up, the Guardians of the Rift. When you move in, you've gone through the Eye of Chaos, and you have to move round in this direction, and when you reach the middle, you're in. You cannot go in there under level. Well, you can, but you're going to die if you do. So it's not the easiest thing to get into. So actually, that's a whistle-stop tour of Relic. It's not that complicated a game. You roll the dice, you have an encounter, and then you win. And that's the idea. In terms of enjoyment, I get a great deal of pleasure out of it. I think anyone who enjoys the theme of 40k and enjoys the component value, production value of Fantasy Flight is going to be in for a treat, really. It's Talisman, but I don't see that as a negative. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'll catch you on the flip side.